Yo, are we live? Yo, are we live? Alright. So Warzone finally loaded. You know, it took me about 3 days to get it installed. I gotta say, having the Battle Royale games is probably one of the only ones that I'm good at, semi-good at. I think I've gotten one solo win. I got a solo win. I got a duo win on this. Most of the time I play, I can probably make it into the top 10, top 5 or so. It's got, whoa. That audio is clear. I can hear that. I thought that was coming across on the microphone.
Check weapons and gear. We're holding for deployment. Hostile dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
Where's everybody?
Enemy dropping into the AO.
There they are. How many rounds can you take? Oh my god.
Hostile dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
Seven seconds and we're go.
Preparation is done. Now you deploy to the war zone. Battle Royale. You've got gas closing in fast. Get to the safe zone.
I'm just gonna go ahead and treat this like a warm-up round. Uh-oh. Let's go!
Targets are up. Get to work.
Oh god. It's really bad. Woo! Oh! Lord! To the gulag! So I think that Warzone has done a really great job at just completely taking over
Win
the
this
battle
fight and you
royale
return to
scene.
the front line. But if you lose, you're done.
I think it's done a lot of things right.
Earn your way out.
They took a lot of creative liberties with the genre, from Fortnite to Apex Legends to what else we got? PUBG, H1Z1. All those they're not copies of each other, but they're certainly more or less they're kind of skins of each other. While they're unique, especially Apex Legends and Fortnite are certainly unique from one another, from PUBG and H1Z1. They all maintain the same concept, pretty much the same systems. If you look at PUBG, it's probably the most realistic one out of them compared to let's see. Uh-oh. Thank you. No, not that. Dragonov. Nah. I guess the rest of this is clear for now. Anyway, PUBG and H1Z1. I can't speak for Blackout, so I'm not going to talk about that. I haven't played that one yet. Those games, they err on the realistic side of the battle royale games, and for the most part, they have a lot of the same systems. Picking up the weapon, finding the attachments for the weapon, finding the backpack. Oh god.
Gas is closing in.
Boy, this is horrifying. Ooh. You know, wearing headphones for one of the first times playing this, or first time wearing headphones, the sound quality is amazing. It's horrifying. I turned down the dynamic range a little bit because the gun sounds just, they blow your eardrums out. I'm actually towards the middle. I don't really have anywhere I need to go. I mean, I can loot. Nope, don't want that.
Enemy UAV overhead.
Need that. Woo! Nice. Take that.
Objective is to
Bounty.
eliminate the bounty target.
Great if I can get a nice shot over here. Okay, well, let's head out.
Enemy UAV overhead.
I'm gonna try to play this as stealth as possible right now. Pop your head out of a window, please. I think one of the scary things about this is how you can watch the counter go down. I know it's in every other Battle Royale game, but something about this game.
Friendly drop bag headed your way. Gas is moving in. New safe zone located.
They're in that house right there and pointing out. Or this house. No, it's this house.
Contract time expired. We lost the target.
Oh. Well, that's scary. Because I know they're around here. Oh, uh-oh. Now I know they're around here and I don't have any insight as to where they are.
Enemy UAV overhead. Gas is inbound.
There's a guy out over there. Just make all the noise we can. Oh, of course. Of course.
Learn from the loss. Failure's a wise teacher.
I made some bad decisions right there. Anyway, so back to the topic I had before. PUBG H1Z1. I think H1Z1 is it's not less of a game, but it's less polished of a game. H1Z1 felt a lot more like it was hopping on the hype, and I was kind of surprised that it made it to the front page of the PlayStation Store. It just doesn't seem like something that was polished enough or unique enough. But then again, there are a few other Battle Royale games that did that, so... I think as far as kind of a slower, more urban, realistic, tactical Battle Royale game, PUBG probably has to win that one before Warzone came out. Once Warzone came out, it really threw lots into the loop. Then you had Fortnite. Fortnite took everything by the storm, and it threw out PUBG. But they're, in a lot of ways, extremely different. You don't get the same kind of feel or gameplay out of Fortnite than you would PUBG. With Fortnite, it's a lot more cartoony. It's not as fast paced as Apex or Warzone, but it is much faster paced than PUBG and H1Z1. Combined with the building mechanics, it makes a all around. It's a pretty different experience. But battle royale wise, there's nothing really that separates it from anything else. As a game altogether, yeah, it's a pretty unique game compared to the others. But as a battle royale game, it's pretty much the same. It has a lot of the same mechanics. I do like that their updates tend to be more outgoing and static, so you're going to get a lot more kind of uplifting content, you could say. With PUBG, you don't really get that. Most of the content you get would be maybe a few new game mechanics, or you're going to get a few new guns or skins and such, and then maybe some new maps. With PUBG, you're going to get a lot of crazy things like massive hamster balls that you can roll through, or you're going to be able to fly planes or helicopters. You know, one of the more recent ones was the headquarters. Was that what it's called? The secret headquarters, whatever it was, right there in the middle of the map where the island used to be, and that had so much more content in it that really kept me coming back for more. I almost landed there every time. Well, I think it was kind of overpowered because I felt like if you landed there and you survived it, which wasn't too hard to do, but you survived landing at the HQ, you got
Preparation is done. Now you deploy to the Warzone.
Weapons. You got a load of blue weapons. You got the SCAR-Ls. You got RPGs. You got the snipers. You got a bunch of different supplies like medical things. You got the bandages. You got. Once you landed there, you're pretty much set for the entire game, and you have a really high chance of winning. So, content update-wise, Fortnite is pretty unique. I think you have Apex Legends, and
Battle
Apex
Royale.
Legend is it's.
Avoid the gas. Get to the safe zone.
That's the fastest battle royale that I've seen so far, and probably one of the most unique in the sense of the gameplay compared to Fortnite. Apex and Fortnite are both extremely unique in the way they play. Apex being not going for a realistic tactical shooter like PUBG, but it's not as cartoony. It's more kind of a cel-shaded. It reminds me as if, what's it called? The game with Reaper.
Enemy soldier incoming.
Is really popular. Overwatch.
Hunt the enemy
It reminds
down.
me as if Overwatch was a battle royale game with a little more violence in it. It was very fast paced. The entire game was really about, you know, you controlling your position within close range of the enemy, and that's what made it stand out so much. You had like some kind of very fast movement styles and not aerial combat, but aerial transport. Like it was more common to start flying in the middle of the game or take a zip line, things like that. Ammo. Woo! Use I have this. So anyway, you know, you look at Apex Legends and some numbers. You look at something like PUBG, and the way that you win that game is you take more into account your position relative to your opponent's position on a longer scale, a much wider scale.
You earn your freedom.
It's something that would be more dominated by snipers, bolt action, semi-auto, and assault rifles. Getting into a close quarters match in that game is
Daunting your
it's not
enemy
really a
is
good
an
idea.
effective way to get inside.
You just have such a high damage model that once multiple rounds start going off really fast, the fight's gonna be over. And if you can be at a wider range and kind of control that wider distance in your position relative to that more, then you're going to be able to come out the victor in that game.
Return to the front line, but if you lose, you're done.
It's kind of middle ground.
Break some.
You're not going to be taking part in many massively wide range battles in that game like you would in PUBG. Maybe there are some, but for the most part, none of them are going to be as big as they can be in PUBG. And so it's more of a medium range. And then Apex Legends is that really close quarters kind of fight. You never want to be in a long distance fight in that game. Reason being, you have kind of a longer damage model. You have way more chances to heal. And the weapons don't lend themselves so much to long-range combat. You can easily get a hold of snipers or put a scope on your assault rifle or marksman rifle, and that's certainly going to help. And if you can, if you can get that drop on somebody, that's going to help a lot. But all in all, a lot like Black Ops 2 or something like that, it's going to be best if you go into that fight with a submachine gun. Now, with this game, what I like about this game is it is a unique game in itself. But on top of that, it becomes unique as a battle royale. So all those other games, while they maintain a uniqueness in themselves, the way that what they offer to the battle royale genre is not much. They all kind of stay inside the same realm. With this game, they've taken the core concepts. You got a very large amount of people in a very large map.
Enemy UAV overhead.
I'm pulling that gun out. The biggest thing about this is that you get a second chance. I think I might be wrong about the timing of this, but I think so long you're in the first half of the match, you can get a second chance. You go to the gulag, and that's a really big change. That's something that we don't really see. This game is a This game is a medium fast Should I try to just shoot grenades up there? I thought he was shooting. Oh, yes! I thought he was shooting at me from this building. Let's see. Certainly swap out the LMV for that. Is that a SCAR or an LMG? That's an LMG. Do I want that? I kind of like my grenade launcher. I think I'm happy with this. I got an LMG right here.
Recon intel secured.
Awesome.
Solid work.
Do I want that? What is
Friendly
that?
drop back on the way.
Do I want that? It looks good.
Gas is inbound. Marking new safe zone.
I really like that RPK, but I don't know. This looks good. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. I think I'm gonna. You know what? How do I?
Moving.
I think I want to head for that farmland. That seems like a good middle ground. So yeah, this game has a very odd mix of speed and tactical play. It's
I'll drive.
No. Yes. Maybe I shouldn't be talking when I'm playing this. It's kind of tough.
Gas is closing in.
I'm not even gonna drive there. What does this do? Is this like a UAV thing? That's the farm I want to get to. I feel like I'm kind of safe here. Kind of safe. Let me reiterate the kind of part there. I like this toy. Let's see, if I lay this down, can I pick it back up later? Yes. Good. Let's see what message I'm getting. What are those sounds? Are those me? Yes, I could be talking here. So, it's hard to explain. The game can move very fast,
Enemy UAV overhead.
and most of the combat is going to end up being close quarters and some medium range. You're not really going to be in too many long range. And what's interesting about that compared to the other games is that it's not because of the weapons. There's weapons in here that will easily take you to long range combat, and the damage model can support long range combat fairly easily, especially if you land a headshot. However, the terrain itself, if you can look out there, there's a lot of hills, a lot of trees. There's a lot of buildings throughout the entire place.
Gas is inbound.
There's
Marking
really
new safe zone.
nowhere in this map where you can get a clear view across a large area. There are a few places, but most of that view is going to be fairly narrow. So most of the time when you're going to run into people, you're going to be you're going to be across the bridge. You're going to be cornering a room in a house or so. And that kind of forces this idea of a medium fast gameplay style while recruiting the need for more tactical gameplay, especially since we have the kind of damage model that we have, which would be your health regenerates. It doesn't take much to regenerate. You just need a few moments of safety, or not even safe, just not being hit, and you're going to regenerate, and then most of your health is going to be an armor place that you collect, which are fairly common, easy to come by. So it's not hard to be healed in the game. The weapons themselves can really counter you. It's one of those games where you have to take care as to how you're shooting, because your recoil can throw you off. The weight of the gun can throw you off. Carrying this LMG, I am not going to be anywhere near as fast if I say I had an assault rifle. But I prefer the LMG right now because it has the scope and has a high magazine capacity. Unlike other games, you can dock your weapon on a surface. So you go prone, or you kneel, or you're cornering something, you can place it up against a wall or a ledge and really support it, and you can corner easier. You can not head glitch, but you can just poke your head out a little bit, try to get some shots off. There's just a lot more mechanics in the game that lend to a more tactical style. Obviously, since other people are using those styles or those mechanics, you're forced to adapt to a much more tactical play. And that's something that we don't really see in other battle royales. PUBG would probably be one of the closest, except it doesn't have enough mechanics in it to kind of make to really solidify its tactical play. It has the docking system like when you're cornering. I really like that. It's like a Rainbow Six Siege. Here we go. Oh, I gotta get moving. Yeah, I think I'm gonna die here. I was not paying attention to that storm. Oh, no, sir. I'm lagging out. I'm just gonna clear this room. I know I labeled this Ghost Stories. So, and I haven't gotten to that yet. So after this is over, I'm gonna hop on some Ghost Experience I had. Oh, that's it. That's it. All right.
We're still standing.
But yeah, so
It's a loss.
with PUBG, you have that. It's not so much just a cornering system. It can work more than just cornering. It's more of a leaning game, a leaning mechanic. So, yeah, the game has recoil as weapons, that recoil can work against you, but there's not so much that would be, apart from the high damage model, there's not so much that would be punishing you from kind of running and gunning it, or just kind of staying up there and taking some shots at a distance. Again, yes, the game is designed to be a longer range, medium range game, and you're going to be punished if you try to go straight in with a submachine gun and spray and pray. But that's kind of the limit on the tactics that the game forces you into. That's not the limit of tactics that you can take, but that's the limit of tactics the game kind of forces you into. Fortnite, again, you can take tactics in any game, but I'm just talking about how the game forces you into it. Like, Fortnite doesn't really force you into any tactics. There are metas. There are things that it's designed to do. You're not going to really get very far if you only try to camp. Actually, Fortnite is a lot more of a forgiving game, but still, if you only try to camp through the whole thing, you're not really going to get very far. H1Z1, for the most part, it's got the same idea as PUBG, just closer range. Apex Legends, like I said, it's a broader spectrum of fast-paced, how quickly can you move around the enemy, So as far as how much it forces you to choose a tactic, I'd have to say Warzone really takes the cake on that, because again, you can go in and running and gunning, you can go in, without really caring what's going on, but the amount of reward that you get from following the kind of, you can say, unwritten rules that the game has placed on you, it's going to be a much bigger game, much better game, and you're probably going to be getting a lot further in it, more points, more kills, more wins. I think it certainly lends a lot more uniqueness to the battle royale genre. And that being said, in a way, that's great, and that's kind of a shame, because the battle royale genre probably won't be around for a lot longer. A little bit, yeah. I don't expect Fortnite or PUBG to suddenly go away. I think those are still going to be staying around for a good while. But I don't think you're going to be seeing so many games hopping on that trend, because it is certainly a trend. And I have to say I'm glad of that, because back whenever Fortnite had come out, I had just started to get into the idea. I heard of PUBG, but more in passing. I had no idea what it was. And Fortnite was becoming a lot bigger. I saw it on a lot of streams and such. And that's a concept that I've been wanting for a long time. Like, ever since I started reading the Hunger Games books back before the movies came out, I was thinking, wow, we should make a game out of this. Like, this would be so great as a game. Which, granted, that would totally go against the idea of why the writer wrote the stories. But nonetheless, I think that would have been a great game. And while we didn't get a Hunger Games video game, Battle Royale is basically just Hunger Games. So I think it was really great. I think the downfall of why it's going to end so soon / so abruptly is the fact that it was kind of a fad genre. It's just kind of popping up on the scene and it's going to go away. And I mean, you can see that in the behavior of how Fortnite came to be. Fortnite was announced a long time ago, like well before it had finally come out. and it was really just advertising the save the
Hostile
world
dropping into
part of
the
the
area.
game.
Watch the skies.
And then after PUBG got really big,
Warm up is over. Stand by for deployment to the war zone.
die. After PUBG got really big, Fortnite was suddenly announced as this battle royale game. We still got Save the World, but it was battle royale all of a sudden. Did a great job of it, but they hopped on that really quickly and they overtook the scene. And then after that, you got Call of Duty who did it, and I've heard Blackout was really great. I wanted to try it.
Gas is approaching your position. Move to the safe zone.
And then Battlefield hopped on that. And Battlefield 5, again, I've not played Battlefield 5 yet, but Battlefield 5 has gotten an absurd amount of flack. They've got beaten to death by the community. And part of that was that their Battle Royale game, from what I understand, was incredibly unpolished. They did not put, from what I hear, this is just me parroting the information I've heard about it. I've not heard many good things about it. Really just criticism that it was not very well polished, they didn't put enough time into it, and that some have gone as far as to say that it is the worst Battle Royale game out there. Which is, that's a bold statement. That's a bold statement. So I don't know how that is for real. I've never experienced that game. But, taking something, in Battlefield sense that has been praised so much for doing such a great job at what it does. It's mostly by the longtime fans of it, me including. I've been a fan since Battlefield 3. It's for them to take such a sudden change and hop on this kind of fad behavior is it's a little jarring, and it takes away from the Battlefield experience. It's like, why have you guys done this? And from what I understand, also, the Battlefield 5 multiplayer in general is also pretty lackluster. They never polished that game up, so it really threw a wrench in that. Not blaming the Battle Royale genre for that, I'm just kind of ranting about what they've done. But all in all, there have been so many game companies that have hopped on it. I just personally think it's about time to, throw in the towel on that. And, I think in a number of years or so, or a number of game cycles, seeing Battle Royale come up in a more polished form is going to be really fun. What's that mean? It's going to be really fun to kind of see those games come back up in a much more polished form. Especially being, Warzone, in my opinion, is the most polished Battle Royale game. And I'm just going to kind of say that this is sort of the end of the Battle Royale fad. I don't think it's the end of the genre, but I think it's the end of the fad. I can certainly see it coming back, like I said, but this is like the grand finale to it all right now, and we'll probably see some more, but I don't think they're going to be as polished as this. But again, down the line, I can see some unique spins on the genre. What would be interesting is like a horror battle royale. Like somebody takes a spin on the creepy side of the genre and just puts 100 players in it. I don't know, that'd be interesting. Especially since, this game is already naturally horrifying. Like, wearing the headphones, being enveloped in the gameplay, it can easily be a very suspenseful thriller type of shooter. A lot of times I've been caught off guard playing this game, screaming like a little schoolgirl. So, like I said, I think it's going to be pretty easy to make like a horror kind of game. And speaking of horror, I think it's time for some ghost stories. And soon here, I might just switch up to Black Ops Zombies. So let's see. What's a good horror story? So I've had a lot of paranormal experiences. Nothing too wild, but there's certainly been enough there to freak me out, or things that I can't explain enough. I can't explain away. Oh, it was dark. I was creeped out.
Enemy UAV overhead.
One of the things was I was doing a paranormal investigation in this. It's not a warehouse. It was like a. It kind of felt like a warehouse. It was a haunted house attraction, and it was made as a haunted house attraction due to the fact that it was believed to have been haunted. As far as the individual hauntings go, I can't speak for it. Which one do I want? Bolt action. As far as the individual hauntings go, I can't speak for that, because I've only been there a few times, and they were not actually to actually go through the haunted house attraction. They were simply there to do investigations based on the stories that happened. But there was this. There were rumors of this one guy, this one ghost who had been there. And he was the more violent type, I guess you could say. This was actually my first time being in there. There were stories about people coming out scratched. There's a mysterious scratch, or they feel extremely sick. I'm not a skeptic.
Enemy UAV overhead.
But as somebody who does a lot of paranormal investigations, it is important to me to. Come on. There we go. It is important to me to be able to debunk things, because if I'm not able to have that mindset where I can debunk something or look into possible ways that this supernatural thing happens, then I'm just kind of going, oh yeah, you tripped? Oh, okay, it's a ghost, or something like that. There's some things that are not fully explainable. You can say, somebody's walking out of the building with a scratch they didn't have on before. They got their leg caught on something and they're walking by. Whenever you're freaked out or you're in the zone, it's hard to notice some of that stuff. Yeah, so I can see that. But when I was in there, I started to feel really sick, right? We're in this room and the lights are turned out. Keep in mind, I've done this before, I'm not somebody who just feels sick out of nowhere. I've done this before in different buildings, and I haven't been sick out of nowhere.
You return to the front line, but if you lose, you're done. Earn your way out. Well done. Stand by for redeployment.
So I'm sitting in the room. On occasion, one of us will turn our flashlights on or off just to kind of check the room, see what that sound was. And I start to feel really sick, very uncontrollably. It doesn't quite feel like I'm about to puke, but it is nausea, and my head is spinning, extremely uncomfortable. And as it starts to subside, one of the people turns on their lights, and they're not shining it anywhere. It's just kind of hanging off their hand. They got a lining on it. It's hanging off their hands, and so it's pointing at the ground. It's a very dim flashlight, so there's a very subtle light source in the room. And down the way into one of the halls, this black mass starts to turn the corner into the room we're in. And the best way to describe it is it's like a cloud. You know, if you ever seen Game of Thrones, whenever she sends that black mass to go kill the king in the first season, I think. It's like that. You know, it was just this big black cloud. And even though it was dark in the room, you know, some light was able to reach into that area, and suddenly the light was just cut off from that hallway. And the cloud started to get a little bit bigger, like it was moving closer, and it moved into the room. And slowly the area started to become dimmer. The light was already dim, but the room itself started to get very dim. And finally, once that had started to go away and we could see more again, my sickness subsided. Oh. Just gonna play around with this guy. Oh, where's that shot coming from? Is he still over there? I'm gonna, oh crap, there he is. Take that! Oh, Lord.
They hit us hard that time. We will settle the score.
Yeah, that was a much smaller story. Very creepy, very unsettling. But I reckon it's probably the creepiest story. That was probably one of the first, I can say, physical experiences I've had in that realm. I got another one, and this one was really creepy to me. Let's see. Please don't film. So I was working at this haunted house one day. There's this maze in the room, one of the back rooms. It's made out of fabric, and it hangs from the ceiling, and it goes almost to the ground. So there's probably like 6 inches of space between the ground and the sheets. So you can, it was kind of designed that way on purpose. You can see feet as they walk through the maze. And I was in this room, and I was the only one in the room. I shut the door behind me, and I went all the way across the room, and I waited in this kind of little cubicle, you could say, that was formed with the sheet walls. I was all the way across the room from the door.
Holding for deployment.
And it was shut.
Take this time to warm up.
And I was waiting for the guests to come in so I could scare them.
Enemy soldier
I was sitting there
incoming.
waiting, and there's this closet door that is kind of on the other side of the room, and it opens up, and somebody starts walking across the room, kind of towards me, fairly slowly, and I can hear the breathing.
Enemy dropping into the AO.
And I'm like, oh, hey, I wanted to be in that room alone. I wanted to try to scare the person myself. And so, I call out to my coworker. I'm like, hey, James, if you don't mind, I want this room to
Preparation
myself.
is done.
Could you just,
Now you deploy to the war zone.
could you switch rooms for me? And they didn't say anything. They just kind of continued walking through the room. And as they're walking, their breeze, it kind of pushes the sheets. It kind of makes them waver back and forth. And then as they get closer, because the sheets are so close together sometimes, your body pushes them out to the side.
Blunder.
And that's what started to happen.
Mission
I
is
started
simple.
seeing the
Secure more
breeze
cash
push
than
them,
the enemy.
and then they started pushing, and the sheet
Set
started
a trap
pushing
point
against
for
my
your
arm.
team.
And I said, "Hey, James, could you leave the room? I want to try to scare them myself here." And again, they don't say anything. But they finally get to right next to me, and there's only this thin sheet between us. There's only one sheet between us, and they just stop moving. There's no more footsteps, and the breathing stops. And I'm like, "Hey, James." And there's nothing. There's nothing at all. And so I sit in that room in total silence for about 6 or 7 minutes. By the time that I'm able to come out, the whole crew gets a break, and I open up the door, and the door had stayed shut this entire time. I open up the door, I walk out there, and I'm like, "Hey, was anybody just in that room with me?" Go, "No." I asked everybody. I asked all the crew. They said, "No, I was not in that room at all this last time." And one of the guests who had come through earlier, he had contacted us, and he said, "Hey, so that was really scary, and the maze was probably the scariest part. But could you tell me?" So I got this really weird feeling in there. "Could you tell me who the teenage boy was without a mask or a costume?" And we're like, "Who?" Because being the costumer, I know that everybody was in costume. I helped them put together their costume, and I made sure they were all in their makeup and their costume that day. There was nobody who was in a costume. Anybody who was not wearing a mask would have been on the opposite side of the property. And that's probably one of the I could say realist stories. I don't know if it is the realest, but it is certainly one of the realest stories that I have.
LC for pickup.
Being so close and hearing and feeling their movement, literally like feeling the sheets brush against me and push into me, and there was nobody there, and then the movement just stopped right next to me, and then to have somebody else kind of verify they saw somebody who I know for a fact was not working with us. So it is certainly it was disturbing, and there were some other things that happened. In that scenario, most of them were smaller events. One of them being that I was in a room with the door behind me, and the door just kind of suddenly pushed open. That could certainly be a difference in pressure. I'm not gonna argue the possibility of that. the only reason I would be suspicious of that explanation is just that I've been in that room a lot, and I've never experienced that difference in pressure. I normally only experience that in one of the rooms that has a window or an open, like a door that's open to the outside, you know. And it tends to be if one of the windows or doors open, you know, that door is to another room that I can see and feel where it can certainly have a different pressure in it compared to, you know, compared to the other rooms, you know, especially if it's hotter, you know, if it's changing temperature fairly fast. But, you know, there's no door. It's a closed off room. There's no door to the outside. There's no window, and that in itself has happened probably about three or four times, but only during the haunted house event. It's never happened any other time that I've been there. I didn't even know I was supposed to be doing that. I never played this game before. I don't like that guy.
Enemy UAV overhead.
Wish I had a scope. Where are they?
Target marked. Send it.
Right there.
This is Striker 3-1. Good copy. Strike inbound.
Nothing.
Bag, no joy.
I destroyed a vehicle. That's good. Oh, I don't have my. I don't have my submachine gun. Why can't I run?
Advise, enemy attack chopper incoming. Take it down and secure the cache.
Oh, dang it. I lost a lot of money on that. Same thing, I think. Can I change it? Yes, I can.
Enemy UAV overhead. Enemy dropping into
So I
the
get more
AO.
comfortable with a straight up sniper. So yeah, those are two. I guess it's technically three, but it's, that's two of my stories. I got some more. There's this old morgue that we were in. We had walkie-talkies, and there were rumors of doppelgangers showing up in the area. And I'm gonna assume that you all know what doppelgangers are, but just to clarify, in the supernatural world of it, doppelgangers generally refers to just some kind of entity that mimics you or that mimics somebody else. So in this building, there were reports to have seen one of the people that we know, or seen ourselves, and then you find out the actual person was, say, standing right next to you or in a different room. One of his experiences was that we had walkie-talkies because we were like opposite sides of the building, and we got a call on one of the talkies of one of our women saying, "Hey," and then it cut out and it got really staticky and like, "Come down here." It was kind of hard to understand them.
Secure all cache in the
But
area.
we thought they were saying something about come down here. So we thought they meant like go out into the main lobby. Like they want to talk to us. And so we waited a second because again it wasn't super clear, and we ready to go back. We said, "What did you say?" And she goes, "Huh?" I said, "What did you just say? Did you say you want us to come down there? You want us to meet you in the lobby?" She goes, "I didn't say anything. What are you talking about?" Being that it sounded just like her, it's it wasn't anybody else. It wouldn't have been anybody else in the group. We all know each other's voices at the time, and we wouldn't have been able to just hear somebody else's voice and go, "Oh yeah, that's her." That's her that's talking to us. Mind you, she was one of the people who actually had walkie-talkies. Not everybody had one because we were split up into two different groups, and there were only about 3 walkie-talkies among us, if I remember correctly. So there wouldn't have been many people who would have been able to do that. So, we collectively thought that it was a walkie-talkie, or a doppelganger. Also, talking through those things, we got pretty decent reception. We come in, we start talking, you're going to understand what we're saying. It's going to be fairly clear. It's not going to be, HD audio quality. You're not Skyping it, but it is going to be intelligible. That was very static, very crunchy, hard to understand what they were saying. Go for the stadium. I don't think I have enough time for it. Can't touch this.
Hostile dropping into the area.
Oh! That was a fun ambush. I think that's the end of the battle, though. Yeah, that's the end of the battle. Ha! Cool. Well, I am drastically hungry now, so I think we're gonna end that there. Just gonna take it back to the menu. Oh. There we go. Well, the plays themselves weren't that good, but my gulag matches seemed like they were pretty decent. So, I'm happy with that. Alright, I'm gonna head off. Peace!